guys, what is up? And welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new here. My name is Giovanni, and in today's video we're going to be discussing all the books that I read in June, as well as all the ones that I plan on reading in July. So if you saw my last video, or if you haven't, I'll leave it down below. I am on a mission to complete my physical TBR before I buy any other books. Just a brief description about why I'm doing this. I have some books that have been on my TBR for quite some time. One is even like 10 to 12 years old. And I feel like since really trying to work on my YouTube channel and just seeing all these other YouTube videos and watching these TikToks, and even with Lemon8, I have just felt the need to accumulate so much physical books, even though I bought a Kindle last year and it helped me not buy so many books, but it has just grown way too much. Like, I have no room on the shelf, I have books laying on the floor, books elsewhere in my house that I need to organize, and it was just compiling way too much. I'm the type of person that I don't like to see clutter. It makes me very anxious and I feel like I can't focus well. So I just wanted to set this goal for myself and kind of, I don't know, like, I'm just really determined to, you know, take care of this. And you know, I'm not like rushing to go through my physical TBR. I do want to show that it is possible to, you know, read a lot of books but not have to spend so much money on them. So a couple of things that I've been doing is borrowing books from my sister, who also likes to read. There's also your library, which I want to check out, or also just getting them on my Kindle so I don't have like a physical TBR just constantly piling up. So that is what I've started doing. I did make a good dent into that this past month. So first book that I have here is Sometimes I Lie by Alice Feeney. This one I ended up giving a 4-star. Basically it's about this girl who wakes up in a hospital and she cannot remember what is going on. She doesn't really know who to trust, and this follows like her story in like the present tense, also like the past, and then another girl that is in the story. I love Alice Feeney's writing. It's so unique. I did give this one a 4-star though, just because I read His and Hers first, and that one was an automatic 5-star for me. But because it was so great, I feel like this one kind of followed the same pattern with the plot twist, and I love the story overall, so it was a 4-star for me. The next book that I read was The Troop by Nick Cutter. This is actually my husband's copy. I read it on my Kindle. This one took me forever to get through though, and I ended up giving it 2 stars. This is also in the thriller section at Barnes & Noble, and I've heard great things about his work, but I don't know, I just wasn't feeling this one. It's about a group of boys and their like scoutmaster who go to this island for the summer, or it's not even a full summer, it's just like a couple days, and there's like this guy that shows up and he's just constantly hungry, and you can tell that something's weird with him. But it just goes through the events of like a minor, I'd say, breakout of like this disease or virus that no one has ever seen, and these kids are trying to survive by themselves. They're only like 13, 14, and they're on this island with very little food. They have no idea what's going on. I just was not feeling it. I really wanted to DNF this. I want to say like halfway through the story though, It kind of gives away the ending, which I liked, but I don't know, just it was very Lord of the Flies vibe, and I never liked Lord of the Flies, so I wouldn't recommend this book. But let's see, after that I did read Behind Closed Doors by B.A. Paris. This is my first book from B.A. Paris that I've read before. I've heard great things about it, and I ended up giving this one, sorry, I'm looking at my notes down here. I ended up giving this one a 5-star. It was a very hard 4-star for me for the majority of the book, but it was the ending that gave it a 5-star. So with this one, you're following this couple, Jack and Grace, and they seem like the perfect couple. She's a stay-at-home wife, and the image that they give everyone is they're this perfect couple. He's a powerful lawyer for women that, what is it, like, he's an attorney for typically women that have been abused by their husbands, and he helps them. His wife, from what everyone else sees, she's just a stay-at-home wife, creates all these lavish meals, but she stays really skinny somehow. Always too busy for her friends. She's, you know, working in the garden or doing things around the house. Doesn't have her own email, her own cell phone. They're just, you know, at the joint, hip, completely together all the time. So you would think that they're just really in love, still going through the honeymoon phase, I guess, but you know, things always happen behind closed doors. And it was really interesting to read because you don't really think about that when you see all these like couples that are really in love, that, you know, oh, they have the perfect life, but you don't really know what goes on when no one's watching. So this one was really, really good. I definitely want to read more from this author. Let's see. The next book that I read, this is the 4th book. I read Prom House by Chelsea Mueller. And this one was like a quick $5 book that I bought at Five Below. So it sounded really interesting. I wanted to get back into like young adult novels. Gave this one a 2-star as well. This was like the month of 2 stars for me, I'd have to say. But it's about this girl who goes to a beach house with her friends, and they spend the weekend there after prom. They get stuck in a storm, and some people get killed, and they're trying to find out exactly what's going on. I really liked some parts of it. Definitely some thrills here and there, but just the writing was weird. I guess because like I'm 27 and this is from the perspective of like 18-year-olds. Just the way that they would talk was just really, really weird. Let me see if I can even find. It was like the first chapter I noticed. This was weird. Tonight was going to be one hell of a rager. Do people actually talk like that, or am I just old? I don't know, but I didn't really have high hopes for it. Never heard of it before, but it is one less book on my physical TBR list. 5th book I read was I Found You by Lisa Jewell. This one I ended up giving a 4 stars, and last year? Yeah, last year, specifically in the month of January on my birthday, I went to Half Price Books and I bought, I want to say, I can't even tell you. I bought 4 books from her. Originally, I read Then She Was Gone. That was an automatic 5 stars. Definitely one of the best books I've ever read, and I loved her style of writing. So when I read that, my thinking was, oh my gosh, like, this is my new favorite author. Let me go buy all the other books that I can from her. Did not like any of the other books from her. I read 3 more after that, which was The Family Upstairs, Watching You, The Girls in the Garden. I read 4. And The Third Wife. The only one that really had some sort of like higher star was Watching You. But after I read all of those, I was like, I don't know if I want to continue reading, because I know that there's a couple more books that she has. So I still had this one in my TBR pile, but this one ended up being really good. So you're following different people in the book. So there's this lady named Alice. She lives on Riding House Bay, and she finds this man sitting at the beach. He cannot remember a thing. And also during this time, there's another lady that we're following. Her name's Lily. Her husband doesn't come home from work one day. He's missing. Turns out the name that she gives the cops never existed. So she's trying to find out what exactly happened to him. And from that timeline, but 23 years before, there was a family that went to Riding House Bay for like a little family vacation, or what do they call it in the UK? On holiday. And while they're there, there's this guy who is looking at the brother's younger sister and giving really weird vibes. So we find out everything that happens. One thing I do not like about her writing, and it makes me uncomfortable, a lot of inappropriate things that happen are with younger people. So for example, that weird guy from 23 years ago, he was like 19, and the girl's 17-year-old brother was like, I don't really like this guy, he's giving weird vibes. And the girl, Christy, she's only 15 at the time. That's a huge age gap when you're that young. And you would think that the parents would say, hey, you know, this guy's a little too old for you. But the mom was like perfectly okay with it. She was like, you know, well, when I was 15, I had a 20-year-old boyfriend, and I don't know, just weird. Like, I could not get past that. But overall, enjoyed the writing, enjoyed the whole story, the whole plot twist. I did not guess the plot twist, so I want to say that, so for example, Stephen King, notorious for writing things that happen to younger girls, people, like, he has that controversy. So does she. So if you're okay with that, I'd say pick this up. If not, just leave it alone. It does also have some minor trigger warnings that I would watch out for and read beforehand. The next book that I read on my Kindle, so I'll just leave it right here. So I read No One Writes for Free by Judith Sonnet. This one definitely has a lot of trigger warnings. It even starts off in the book with a trigger warning, but then when it gets to the really gruesome part, there's a page before that that says, this is only a book, please, you know, proceed with caution, continue reading at your own risk. So it's about this lady who is taking her 2 children back to university. They're driving over there. She stops at a gas station, and when she comes back, there's this man in their car, and he makes her drive. They stop in the middle of nowhere, and all this really disgusting and disturbing stuff happens. I would not recommend it to anyone. This one I ended up giving 2 stars just because, I don't know, it didn't feel like a 1-star book. Like, everything that was going on made me want to continue to read to find out like what was going to happen at the end. But I wouldn't recommend it to anyone. I probably, like, I didn't even want to put it in this video, but I read it, so that's why it's here. That one is definitely like an extreme horror novel. So if you're not queasy for anything, or if you're completely okay with certain things, go ahead, give it a try. I've seen, what is it called? Splatterpunk. That's what it's called. I follow a Splatterpunk Facebook group, and I've seen it a couple of times on there, so that's why I gave it a try. It was a quick, like, 75-page book, so that's why it's there. The next book that I read was 101 Essays That Will Change the Way You Think by Brianna Wiest. That was also on my Kindle. That one I gave it 2 stars. So, you know, I always try and do like a mental health book, I'd say. At least one a month, just to change things up a bit. This one, it just felt boring. It felt very repetitive. I think there was maybe like 2 good essays that I read. Some of them weren't even really essays, they were like lists. And after, I thought it was going to be a really good book, but then I saw the Goodreads after I read it, and I was like, yeah, this really was a very alright book. Maybe it helped some people, but I think I could have gone through it in life just fine not having read it, and probably have read another book closely similar. So those are all the books that I read for the month of June. So we have 2, 4, 6, 7. Yeah, I read 7 books. So overall, really good. I feel like I kind of hit a book slump earlier this year, so this was very much an accomplishment for me, especially with working full-time and being a mom and a wife. But I have a total of 42 books on my physical TBR, and with that I read 4, so we're down to 38. So for this month, I do have a very aggressive TBR pile, and I can tell you right now, I'm like 90% sure I'm not going to finish it. But first off, we have A Little Life. This one I've been reading for some time. It's just very hard to read because of all the trauma in it. Definitely check out the trigger warnings, but the writing's beautiful. I'm not in any hurry to rush through this book. It's very good, and I love the writing, and I am like extensively taking notes on the side and annotating it, but I only have like 300 pages left, so I want to finish this month. Next up, I do want to read The Wives by Tarryn Fisher. I absolutely love her writing, and I've loved all of her books so far. My favorite being, is it The Wrong Guest? What is it called? The Wrong Family. That one was probably one of my favorite books ever as well. This one, I do plan on going to the beach probably in the middle of this month, and I don't know how I feel about taking my Kindle to the beach, so I'm bringing a physical book just in case. Next up, which I actually just started reading today because it was kind of slow at work. The Game by Lindsay Miller. This was another like $5 book that I found at Five Below. So I will definitely give y'all an update on that next month. Next up, we have, these 2 will be on my Kindle. So there's Atomic Habits by James Clear. I've heard such great things about this book, and more specifically, I've heard good things from I can't remember her name, but she's a YouTuber. She works full-time and she has 2 toddlers, and this book is very good for people that want to set goals and learn how to prioritize better, manage their time better. So I'm excited to read that, and hopefully it'll help me, because I feel like I'm very good with my time, but there's just some days that I hit a wall and then it screws me up for like the rest of the week. So can't wait to read that. The next one that I have is An Honest Lie by Tarryn Fisher. Just in case I want to read that on my Kindle while I'm at the beach. So have that one as well. The next one that I'm going to be reading, do I have this in order? Y'all probably couldn't see that, but it's okay. I am going to read the whole Twilight series. So these books, or more specifically the first one, came out when I was in the 7th grade. This is a little bit of a backstory how I grew up, but in the 7th grade I started reading Twilight, and I want to say I read the first 50 pages. My family was very religious when I was younger. They're not as bad as they used to be now. And my parents also aren't very, how do I put this in not a mean way? They don't like that I read. They think that it's me being lazy, or, you know, I could be doing other things with my time, like, you know, just being a mom and a wife, and they think that I'm not supposed to have any time for myself because I'm a mom and a wife. So it's, you know, why do you read when you could be cleaning, could be doing this, could be doing that? So when I take time for myself, it's me being lazy. But more specifically, when I was younger, I wasn't allowed to read vampire books. So I was never able to read this. But now that they're more chill, that's why my baby sister has all these books and she's read them all. But I feel like I never really liked vampires. I never really got the whole vibe of them. I've always been like, if there's a choice between zombie and vampires, I always prefer zombies. I love apocalypse books, end of the world books, but can never really get into vampires. So I tried watching the first movie and it was so cringy. I could not finish it. I heard that the other movies are a lot better. So what I want to do for my younger self is I really want to read these books and watch the movies, just so I don't feel like in the dark with, you know, when people talk about it. So we'll see if I like them. We'll see if it changes things up for me. But that is all the books that I have. I have 4, 5, 6, 7. I have 9 books. So I will let y'all know what I think of everything for next month, how I feel about them, and yeah, I'm super excited to read this. I owe it to my younger self. So that is it for today's video, and thank y'all so much for watching, and I will see y'all in my next one. Bye.